in here, waiting for YouTube to engage, which it looks like it is. And then Instagram. Instagram. All right. Instagram's running and YouTube. Good morning, everyone. I'm in competition with some leaf blowers. They're finishing up across the street, trimming a tree. Beautiful day to be outside. But I'm inside with these two beautiful gals, a rendition penciled by James Anthony. It's called The Last Two. I reached out to James Anthony on Shelob's Layer of Drawing, which is on Instagram. That's how you can get to him, see more of his fantastic work. And Ron Parsons was the one who introduced me to James's wonderful work. And there's James. How you doing, James? And so we're at what I would call having fun point. So I've already gone through the inking, which is this outlining kind of thing. And then I've put the liquid mask down and then run my gray values on it. So from here on out, the hard work is really done. Now it's all the fun work, which is just playing around with lights and darks. And I'll tell you right now, if you don't know how to have fun with playing around with lights and darks in art, I don't know how you're going to maintain yourself being a artist. So I am going to use my rubber cement. This is an eraser. It's just a rubber cement rubber. Rub it all off. And I'm just going to take off the rubber cement. And this is all dry. I had it pressed, in my little space, and then let it dry out for pretty much the whole day since the morning when I got up. So there's a little bit of bend in the paper, but pretty much it's flat. And you can see how the brush marks and the texture is already there, but there's a lot of things I want to be able to figure out. So that for me is where the fun is. So with that being said, when you get to this point, you want to be very gentle. But you can already see the how that reaction comes along when you get rid of the there's that beautiful white, stark white of the paper underneath. And these are indicators. This is just me thinking as far in the future as I can, to predict the balance of light and dark, in this or any image I'm working on. So you can see from the last, if you watched me do this yesterday, I have a blue pen that has the liquid mask fluid in it. You shake it just like a paint marker, and you can draw in there. So you get a bit of a line, and then I follow up by brushing in areas, larger areas, but also getting sort of kind of a brush strokey effect. So you can kind of see that. I can kind of play some judgment on whether it's good enough to stay. But, the other thing too is I see a lot of things in my inks that I'm going to want to improve upon. Some could call it corrections. I don't know if you saw that, but there was a heavy ink wash on there. And it's one of the reasons I love using the graphite, the water-soluble graphite, is because you can erase the graphite. So not back down to white, but you can get back a little bit more white. So I like that effect. I might have to try. Yeah, it's a bit laborious. Timing. You do have to, like last night, I had to, or yesterday through the night, let this press and dry out, and then even for the, for the day today, just let it not have any dampness in it, because when you rub this on it, the dampness will, bring up the paper. So, but you can see things like this. That axe is already starting to have its, its moment. And then I put a little line over here to kind of create some edge light, and then another line here. You got this crack in the rocks over there. So we're dealing with rock texture and cosmic sky texture, and then feminine beauty. One of the there's a couple ideas that are floating through my mind, but that is pretty much it. I'm actually going to do a scan. So I'm going to leave you with James's beautiful drawing. I'm going to do a scan, depending on how my Wi-Fi signal is today. See how fast this runs. I just like having a copy. Because I'm running Riverside. Oh, there you go, YouTube and Instagram. So quite the busy machine. And we can listen to the beautiful music of chainsaws. But I gotta put. Just want to make a note. Missed. What the heck? Huh. Make sure that's good. All right. Alrighty then. Since this is 13 by 19 in my drawing, I have to do it in 2 scans. So just a little bit more time. I think it's still grinding. All right. Good. Yep, I was looking for that too. All right. So I'm going to hold off this side. So one of the reasons I also printed out James's drawing large is reference point for me, but also for note taking. So rock textures. This is going to go black. Then we've got cosmic background. This is still there or not. I don't know yet. I also put this line in here. I did put C, but I don't know if it's going to be a C or not. It could be desert. I'm not really worried too much because it is going to be in the distance. But one of the ideas I had was, Now, going ahead and masking out these characters in the rocks, leaving that, and then blasting it with some spray cans. So we'll see. But then I have put down here mist. So one of the last things I'll do is probably cut out some paper, also hit it with some spray, um, spray paint white, and just kind of create a misty feeling, which means these figures are gonna have to be dark. I know that for true. So that'll probably be one of the things today I do, which is going to be establishing cosmic sky background texture, rock texture, and their texture, if you will, their flesh being immersed in darkness. So let's get going. I also see little areas where I want to put, like I said, correction's a too heavy of a handed word. No, I didn't want to do that. But another way you could say is advancement, advancing the drawing. So one of them is this, her toe is not big enough for me. Yeah, that's better. And also, getting here, this is crying to be solid black. So one of the rules of thumb is in my advancement in being creative, which I've learned from other artists, living and dead, is that balance between keeping things in your drawing because you feel precious about them. It's a hard thing to do, is knock out something that you feel you might put a lot of time into, a lot of thought, and you just want to keep it there. But unfortunately, that's not the best way to really search for, the best composition at the end of the day. So one of the reasons I work the way I work is it's really easy to work over the top of things. So even if I do get rid of something because I'm trying to not be precious about it, I can always bring it back into some relevance. So you'll see me making some crazy decisions. Now, I did leave a lot of this empty based on the drawing, the original drawing, but I also knew that this was going to be very dark with mist, coming forward and stuff. So, gonna do. Like I've said in the past, I love these paint markers, or excuse me, pen markers when they start drying out. I like the textures you can kind of get with that too. So I'm going to actually bring this in. I'll tell you, the toughest part about doing this live streaming is not quite used to it. So I do end up forgetting. I fall into the drawing. So I'm not trying to ignore you if you're making comments. I'm just in the zone. I marvel at a lot of the people I've watched on YouTube. How they go about doing live streams. But albeit, doing it a while, you'll get good at it no matter what it is. It's how good habits are made. So, and then one of the other things too is when you get these layers and what happens in those layers when you put something on top of something. Okay, these are looking good. All right, so here's a magic trick, which is going to help twofold. Because I need my mat. That's what I need. Oh, hey, sorry, James. A bit more lore to add. Sierra, the one who is unarmed. This is Sierra. Sierra uses her bare hands and teeth to attack. She is very frantic and quick to attack. That's why Tarja keeps her close and uses her like an attack dog. Whoa, James, this is pretty dang cool. Your story. Thank you for sharing that. Loving it. I mean, the image itself is just so enticing for the imagination. So I constantly commend you on that because it's just so well done. And this is a part, just so everybody else is aware here, this is a part of James's comic book called Fera, Fera, which he's working on. But he's also working on stuff with the brutal blade of Ram Parsons. So I had the wonderful opportunity to sit with Ron and do a Crom updates. So that'll be coming out soon on cromthebarbarian.com. And that's always a good thing. Busy as an artist can be is always a good thing. So... All right. I also feel yes. All right, let me check here. I'm just going to put a pencil line. Or actually, I can do Yeah, I can just use this. So it's right below the knees. So now what I'm using, I'm going to fill this entire, above the horizon line up. This is a straightforward Tombow black brush water base. So years ago when I got these brushes, I really fell in love with them. It was really the first brush pen I took a huge liking to. But you're going to see something in a couple minutes that first happened to me as a quote unquote mistake. Didn't mean it, kind of freaked me out when it happened, but I've been using it ever since as a part of my inking arsenal. Oh, we got a comment over on YouTube. James Elmer Bauman, your work and your YouTube channel are fantastic. Keep it up. James, thank you very much. I very much appreciate that. And you stopping by and checking things out. Crom the Barbarian, if you want to find out more and keep going. Also, there's that, like, subscribe business. I don't say that too often because if people don't know by now that's how it works, then so be it. I think people also, like myself, are very picky about who they like and subscribe to. Because when you do that, YouTube will start suggesting all kinds of fun stuff they think you want to see more of to keep you on there. And they do pretty good. But I understand. There's so much out there to see. I've been getting a little exhausted with YouTube or just watching TV in general. So I've been doing some audiobooks, just listening to them and doodling, conceptually putting stories together and stuff like that. So that's pretty good. I've been reading Lord Dunsany's King of Elfland's Daughter. Really good. I'm halfway through that. And some really early original sword and sorcery stories, or yarns as they used to call them, by Robert E. Howard and Clark Ashton Smith. So I just make, what do you call them? Playlists. Just search for, there's so much content out there. I just started searching for these types of stories, and not only one, but sometimes like 5 versions are out there. The tough ones are the ones that monetize themselves to death. They're trying to capitalize on it all, which is fine. But there's something to be said when you put something up on YouTube and then you assign some monetization to it. But when you do it every 8 minutes, it really just breaks up the content and makes the people frustrated. But them's are the breaks. Okay. This is thank you, James. First, I thought you said it was like a pain in the ass. This is a little, but it can also be meditative, especially with that chainsaw. But this is all going to come together once I get my magical technique in action. That's the thing. You always have to, a lot of prepping for magic. Okay, we are. Because I'll have two moves after this. Like I'll do two more things because there'll be a drying period again. This is probably going to be in 6 parts. This variant inking. This leg is going to have to really get some shadow going on. Move that away. Okay, just at a home stretch here. Gotta fill in the rest of this. Now it's paintbrush time. All right. And that's all because I think this is pretty much a brand new one. But there we go. I'm liking that. As a matter of fact, I'm going to do another scan. I think I'm going to also throw a little bit in here. Mm-hmm. More up here. Yep. I dig it. Oh, you know what? I'm going to counterbalance it over here. Cool. All right, I'm good with that. Like I said, this could be either sea or sand. You have really inspired me, bro. Not only to what you've done with this piece, but your art is fantastic. It's definitely the route I want to follow. We mentioned artists before, but I forgot to mention Simon Beasley. Yes, sir. Simon Beasley, James. Yeah, and you guys, he's on your side of the pond there. You're lucky. Though I've met him a couple times um, years ago, and he is the nicest person, as being one of the most talented people to ever come into comics. And he's right there at the top. Yes. Yes. All right, I'm gonna run this through the scanner again. And then where did I put the drawer on? Here it is. I get this back here. And I'm also gonna prep for what happens next, which will probably be the last thing I do today. Yeah, I remember getting Heavy Metal magazine. I think it was 91, somewhere around there. And that was the first time they printed Simon Beasley's Slain. And that thing never left my side for years. For years. Yeah. Yeah. Badass Beasley. That's what it is. You're not gonna beat the biz. I remember an artsy fartsy illustrator teacher, old guy, teacher of mine. I had the book with me, and of course, it was sitting on next to me. And he came by. He was wandering around the room. He picked up that Heavy Metal, and he was like, "Oh, Heavy Metal! I haven't seen this for a while." And I said, "Neither have I, but check out the insides." And he checked it. And he went, "Whoa!" So even some 70-year-old, from the beginning of time, New York illustrator, was completely. I think he walked away with my magazine and sat over at another table for like 30 minutes. I was just going through that magazine. That's Simon's work, and yes, I'm going for exactly the same thing. There's cartoon image line work, which graphically can hold you and pull you through a story. But then there's another like layering and kind of like fine art quality that you can kind of dive into or get the reader to dive into. And that's the way I'm going about it. So, and he's definitely leading that charge. All right, got it scanned. And there we go. Yep, got it scanned. And hola, amigos, from Jimmy. How we doing, Jimmy? Thanks for joining us. We're throwing some stuff down right now. We're talking Simon Beasley. Simon Beasley. Here we go. All right, here's now the magic. Tilt my camera up a little. Yeah, it should work. All right. So you ready for the magic? So, good God, like early 2000s, maybe like 1999 when I was using these Tombow brush pens. Um, I think the drawing was like off to the side and I was working on another drawing and I had to spray it. This Windex bottle has been with me since late 1980s. So I just would keep refilling it with water. But this is what happened. I don't know if it's gonna be easy to see. But it starts creating this watercolors they throw I gotta hit the other side or it's gonna curl. They'll throw salt on a painting, excuse me, and it will I'm gonna give it another. It'll give this spotty effect, but I'm also going to grab some. Ooh. Oh, let me get my gouache out, and I'm gonna go gray and black, and I'm gonna do a wash for our two ladies here, ladies of the night, and then go from there. Let's see something else here. Yeah, it's a shame. It's hard to see. I don't know. I think my resolution's coming at like, what am I? Oh, I'm at 1080p. So depending on how you guys are viewing what I'm doing, you should be able to see some of it. But yeah, this is just something to lay down, give me something to work with. Now I'm going to really just go to town with. I'm actually going to use some dirty graphite water, but I'm going to put a sheen over them. So, it's going to act as like a color and a shade, I think, at the same time. Just need to create enough of it. Yeah, that's good. Oh, yeah, that's been perfect. And keep my trusting. All right. So you can see how they kind of get ghosty now. Because like I said, I'm playing a game of chess with myself because I'm thinking of different effects I can use to really make this cosmic background real cosmic. But also keep these gals in focus. Might even work a little. Might even work a little on the rocks with this. Do a little dry brushing. Thank you, James. All right, here we go again. Knocking around there. And that's what I was talking about. I'm gonna get into some of this like dry brushing on the rocks, some texture. But you can see how this plays out. One of the challenges at my head is that I think of her, Sierra, as like black haired. So trying to get her to stand out against black, you know, go figure. Try to figure that one out, right? There we go. That's pretty cool. All right, and then I am going to. There we go. Too much dark there. All right, we'll do a little bit of dry brushing. Nope. I know. Do. One of the really cool things about working with gouache is its opacity and its ability to come back and work right back into it. You know, a little bit of water, almost like an erasing effect. Now here, this rock piece, I want to give it a little bit more. Activate some of this white, but there we go. And I don't know, once again, I don't know if you can see this, but because the tombow is underneath it, it's they're reacting together. So, which is fine, because you have to keep remembering, I do too, is a lot of this stuff is going to get covered by mist. So I need it strong and bold so I can still see things. We can all actually see things come through. And the, there you go. You can see that right there. Just throw a little water in there. All right. There we go. So that is a super. James, you're just making it even easier for me to work with all this really great background material I have on these characters, and I seem to be getting close to the same thinking. All right, I gotta throw a little bit more water on the back here just to make sure it doesn't get too curly in the front. But that is all I'm going to be able to do since it's a little wet here. Cool. All right. Wow. Let me just do a couple announcements here. So tomorrow, this is my big thing tomorrow is I am working on bringing Scoundrel's Dread to the United States. Drawn Sword was one of 5 of the guest artists I had who did covers for my Crom Collected. This is the cover that he did, his version of Crom fighting this crazy ant spider queen, and she's got a gal or two here, 3 people in the webs and stuff. This is for my 140 pages of black and white sword and sorcery goodness magazine style. So James has been working on this for quite a long time. It's called Scoundrel's Dread. It's a wraparound cover. It's A4 in size, which is basically somewhere around 8.5 by 11. This is the back of the cover. But tomorrow, if you go to cromthebarbarian.com right now, you can do the pre-order. We need to get 30 pre-orders in order to pay for the printing and the shipping of 50 copies over to the United States. So I'm really going to be talking about this a lot for the next week. This is an amazingly talented artist I've been working with for close to a year now. We have a bunch of meetings on YouTube, on this channel. Do a search for Drawn Sword, and there's probably about 5 or 6 Crom updates you'll find. But Drawn Sword is an amazing talent, and this is a 32-page black and white art book. I call it a concept art book. It's about intergalactic bounty hunters and their prey. Some planets, I think the weapons don't work, so they have resort back to sword fighting and the such. Some they have hover bikes, and it's bonkers. I'm in love with it. So please go over to cromthebarbarian.com and do your pre-order. If you like, for a limited period of time, Drawn Sword has allowed me to let this book go back into print through cromthebarbarian.com, and you can get a copy with his Crom if you don't own a copy of Crom the Barbarian right now. So really looking forward to seeing this get to America. The Scoundrel's Dread. This is just an incredibly talented person. I know he, way back in the late 90s, he said, or early 2000s, he did get something over here to the United States. He's in New Zealand, by the way. So, the shipping is just incredibly expensive for one item. So, but if you could ship 50 items, then, it's going to be a lot cheaper. And Crom the Barbarian will be distributing Scoundrel's Dread for the United States. If you're in Australia or in New Zealand, you can get to him through Drawn Sword Graphics. You'll get it to him. But we're really looking forward to getting this done. Tomorrow will be the official launch for the pre-order sales campaign. 7 days to get 30 pre-orders to get 50 copies of Scoundrel's Dread from New Zealand, printed in New Zealand, signed, numbered, and dated, I believe. Yeah. Yeah. But it's just an amazing thing. Not dated. It's not dated. It's just signed and numbered. A real artifact. I don't know. I believe there's going to be 100 in printing is what Drawn Sword is looking at, thinking. So, but a lot of it will be based on what the reaction is come the pre-orders and the first 50 copies. So with that being said, thanks again for your support and everything. I have to thank the creator of this drawing, James Anthony. You can get to him on Instagram, Shelob's Layer of Drawing, and see more of his work. It's just so refreshing to see strong, identifiable 70s-esque cosmic fantasy. You just don't seem to find enough of it. So, James, his heart is obviously into it. So get over there and also support him. But other than that, I will be back because we got to let this dry. And I'll be putting another layer on it, which a lot of it might end up just being some masking. We'll see. We'll see. But today is for me Tuesday, so this is my Friday. Wednesday, Thursday, I'm probably not going to be around, so it will be next Friday. So hey, thank you everybody for your support and stopping by, whether it was just for a couple of minutes or hanging out the entire day. But we will see you again. I really enjoy doing these live sessions. Take care.